Hey guys, just wanted a quick mid-morning stream. Wanted to talk about today women control access to both sex and relationships, right? Lately, you know, obviously the internet wants to uh make up their own theories about intersexual dynamics, and a lot of it is painted or has the veneer or the lens of our own egos, right? So when you bring up a phrase or something that empowers men inherently, without them understanding um, what that means or what it doesn't mean, people tend to latch on to these phrases, right? So when red pill content creators, so they say, right, say women control access to sex and men control access to relationship, right? What's up, Bagel? What happens is that it feels empowering, right? It feels like you as a guy have some kind of control, inherent control, or a God-given power that you can exercise. But it's like sending soldiers into war with shit weapons, right? With these mental models, because they can hurt you. They can really cause damage to you. We've had stories like Cappy's actuary, who, despite having being the type of guy who always could get the women, foot in the door because he was, physically attractive and had a cool lifestyle, he ended up, sadly, um, taking a permanent solution to a temporary problem, as they say. And he could never get over the fact that women didn't want him for a relationship, were fighting for relationships in his life. And a lot of guys who do date and finally get sexually attracted to women kind of have this thing where it's just like, how come women aren't fighting to be in my life? How come I'm just getting one night stands? Or how come I'm having casual relationships where I never meet her parents or anything, but I'm like having sex with her, then she disappears for a week or whatever, um, whatever the dynamic. And the thing is, guys, is that simply uh, women control access to both, right? And I know it may seem like, hey, what power do men have? What's the point of leveling up and money muscles game, all that crap, right? Why do we even try if women still have power over everything? And the truth is, guys, is that it's not about power. Okay, it is about power, right? But power and like being delusional about where you stand, right, is not power, right? It's just a fantasy. It can get you in lots of, it can cause you a lot of pain in your life, right? As I just explained with Fred, Cappy's actuary, right? You need to be very cognizant of where you stand with women and what actually happens. And you need to really think, stop using your ego, stop using, this masculine bravado where it's just like, hey, I have I control access to relationships. Start asking logical questions and start looking at how relationships form in real life, right? Um, First, does a relationship happen if she doesn't have sex with you first? Right? A relationship without sex is just friendship or a friend zone, right? Which you definitely don't want to be in that position. Right? You don't want to be there. So first off, to even get your foot in the door, you have to be sexually attractive enough, and she has to choose to be with you, right? So there's that. So number two is that if a woman decides to want to be in a relationship with you that's serious, right? Um, Basically, she's going to be the one to bring it up, right? We know, for you guys that are game savvy, is that you never bring up the relationship. That's unattractive to women inherently, right? You can allude to it. You can, there is a kind of messy, like, the girl's been basically acting like your girlfriend and doing everything, showing genuine desire and proving to you there's no other guys and all that stuff, right? But generally speaking, she has to be the one to bring up the relationship, right? So she has the key there too, right? Because if you're the one pushing for a relationship, that's inherently unattractive to women, right? What makes women want a relationship with you and what makes women want to have sex with you are two different things. And it's like so easy to say that, but so hard to explain to guys, hey, women control access to both, right? It's just, why is it so hard, right? And I think it's just the ego. Guys want to feel empowered. Guys want um kind of, they want this legacy power passed on, from other men and other generations where they get to decide terms of things. Well, the reality is there's no power in things that making up things in our mind. We have to be honest, realistic, and understand what works and where you stand with women. So we also have Brifold's law, right? Brifold's law states that where there is no benefit for the woman, no such association takes place, or something like that, right? Similar. He was an anthropologist that noticed that in the animal kingdom, the smaller, weaker sex, which is 99% of the time is the female, will only associate with the male if she gets some type of benefit, right? And so a lot of guys think, well, um, if I level up, if I provide, if I focus on the beta side of hypergamy, right? Because there's two sides. What ends up happening is that I'll get the girl, right? All I got to do is learn a little bit of game, and the girl will look at how awesome I am. She'll look at my lifestyle, the money, all that stuff, and uh, she will have no choice. She'll do anything to be with me, right? And the truth is, most women already have that taken care of, right? Women have a sea of betas constantly hitting them up, giving them free money, free stuff, and it's only getting worse, right? So as time goes on, your the beta side hypergamy is going to be more and more outsourced and taken care of by society, right? She doesn't need your protection that much. She doesn't need your money. She doesn't need much from you except hot and exciting. Now, as a serious relationship goes on, she will start uh, passing those responsibilities that society wants it to you, right? And it's up to you to opt in or opt out, right? And that's the thing. Women control access to sex and relationships, but men control whether they opt in or opt out. So when she comes up to you and says, "Hey, what are we?" Then you get to decide whether to sign up for the relationship or be like, "No, I don't want it." Right? Men control access to both. Why is it? Why does it feel disempowering? Right? So what happens is, in part of the red pill guys that come to the red pill, right? They find out how disenfranchised they've been their whole lives, right? They find out that they don't have as much power. A lot of guys come here after being zeroed out after divorce or a bad breakup or whatever life event which challenges everything they've ever known about life. And they're just seeking answers, and they're seeking, kind of a that they're not the only people going through this, right? Um, and all that. But they're also seeking other men to tell them what they want to hear. As with anything, humans are designed to gravitate towards things like this, like things that empower them, right? So if so, it's easy to say, "Hey, men control access to relationships," right? But that's a really damning and dangerous thing to think, right? Because what's going to happen is guys will sleep around eventually. They'll finally figure it out. Maybe have one girl a month or two girls a month, which isn't too bad. And what ends up happening, right, is they will start to notice, like, why is it that women that are younger, that have less incentive to be in a relationship, right, uh, want to be don't want to be in a relationship, but when they hit 29, 30, 31, 32, they're fighting for a relationship, right? And the truth is, I'm not a huge statistics guy. I think statistics are, not a very good reliable predictor of reality sometimes. But if women aren't getting married, the marriage rate is low, and women are marrying um, all pretty much at 32 when they pretty much have to, or when they start hitting the wall. Then it's probably intelligent to say that these women are kind of choosing their destiny, right? Women are not desperate for relationships. Why would they? Before they have to be in one, right? Like Dalrock said, women are wasting no amount of their youth and fertility on their future husbands, and they absolutely have to, right? So because of this, because women have agency, when women think and have brains, right, which a lot of people are uncomfortable with apparently, um, they get to decide whether they be in relationships, right? And they have incentives, just like me, you, and every other human being. We look at the playing field, we factor in our egos, our emotions, and all that stuff, and then we make a decision based on that. Now, I always preach, hey, like, keep your ego as much out of it as you can. You're allowed to have your emotions, but the closer you are to something that's realistic and works for you, terms of relationships, jobs, career, and anything. And Misha's in the chat. He'll tell you, about jobs and all that stuff and how important it is to like always think like, is it worth being here? Should like have I been promoted and all that stuff? And that's how women see life, right? So we can use a good analogy. Well, sort of good analogy is you with a career, right? Um, you you go to a job and you work, and the job sometimes give you promotions, perks, days off, all this stuff, right? So out of you opted in, and you are in a relationship with your employer, right? And your employer could be like, hey, we have the best benefits package. You'll want to be here your whole life. This is great. But there's a better offer comes along, or you get burnt out from your job, you don't get treated fairly, you have a bad middle manager or whatever, and then you leave, right? You have the option to leave. You were granted an incentive to come to this company, but you can always leave. And sometimes you don't leave because the company treated you bad. You just say, I'm done with this, or I'm bored, or I've got something else to do, or a better opportunity, or I just want to, I just want to start a rap career, whatever you want to do, right? So think about that when in terms of women's agency, right? They can only be incentivized to do things, and look at their incentives, right? How do I keep women interested in me? And then you'll realize that, is it even worth fighting for women to be like to constantly give them incentive, right? Yes and no, right? For example, staying in shape and being sexually attractive, right, physically, is an incentive for women to stay in a relationship with you. However, you should be doing that anyway, right? This isn't a, oh, woman comes in, I'm dating, I'm fit, right? No, it is, you're fit for life. So that's an incentive to keep women in your life, right? Striving, doing better, having visions, being having goals, and all that stuff. That's also an incentive for women to stay, right? But even then, that doesn't guarantee anything, right? And that's what a lot of guys want, this to be true, where men control access to relationships, because it gives them a guarantee. It means that like, hey, if it simplifies the dating game, right? And what guys want is they want guarantees. They want things to be simple, right? So if I do X, Y is the outcome. And a lot of guys like that thinking because it's simple. They don't have to think, right? Um, and it's a lot of work because you have to constantly um, change that variable, add variables, a limit, an integral into that equation, all that for you physics bro or calculus bros and all that stuff. It's just you keep adding a complexity to the equation of women wanting to fuck me and not leave me, right? When how about we do this, right? How about we just stop worrying about it, right? And here's the other side that guys don't see. They'll see the doom and gloom part um, of this equation, right? But they don't see the awesome other part, which now means that relationship is not your problem; it's her problem, right? She gets to decide what benefits her and what doesn't. It may be stupid, it may be smart, right? But she gets to decide. And a lot of women will decide what's best for them 99% of the time, right? So, first off, you have to be comfortable with female agency, which either conservatives or radfems or a lot of these, ideologies, they all have like this issue with women choosing what they want. Like the other day, I was in a space. A rad fem's like, women are oppressed on whole, right? I'm like, okay, well, if a woman is married and has kids and she's happy as can be, and she's totally fine cooking, cleaning, and doing chores and taking care of the babies and working and doing all this fun stuff for her hot husband, who are you to decide that who gets to decide she's being oppressed, you or her? And silence, right? Because literally I introduced to a woman who thinks she's fighting and represents women that, hey, you may not represent women the way you think, right? She gets to decide whether she's oppressed or not. And then you go on the conservative side, and the conservatives are like, women that are whores or like women that do bad things like sexually are being coerced or are being you know tricked or something like that. And I'm just like, no, they are choosing to do these things, right? Women that do a word, women that will start OnlyFans, no one's forcing them to do that. They want to do that. They cannot handle female agency, right? And you have to be comfortable with female agency, because one of the cornerstones of being a player and being good with women is understanding women's incentives and that there's no guarantees, right? You could be the smoothest guy on earth and you could have the perfect lifestyle and you could be literally everything she wants on paper and the girl will be like, no, I'm good. I'll fuck you, but I don't want a relationship, right? And it's happened to me several times, right? I have looked at women and I looked at me. And, back in my days when I had an ego about this, and Fago, I'll get to your question in a second, man. When I had an ego about this, right? I would say, hey, I'm 33 and I'm making 90K, um, and I'm 6 feet tall and I'm a dancer and I play piano and I have a puppy and I live in nice part of town and I have good fashion. Like I started writing down all these things that make me kind of like, stand out. And I am, that objectively speaking, I am very different from the average man. And then I would see a girl that would like cook and clean for me sometimes, and we'd have good sex, and she would wear what I wanted her to wear, and she would open up to me. She would cry, almost basically like almost like like a pseudo relationship, right? But she didn't want a relationship at all, and I would write down the things she brought to the table or what she was, right? And it was 24, 23 or 24 years old and a fat ass. And obviously attractive, right? But just to be funny, yeah, she had a fat ass, right? Or she was pretty, or she was Asian and exotic, or whatever. And I looked at these things side by side, and the manosphere would be like, you're so awesome, you're like 0.01%. You deserve. These women don't know what's good for them. I'm like, well, think about it like this: like, what benefit does she get getting with me? Now you may think, oh, she gets the money, she gets this, she gets that. I'm like, great. She doesn't need that from me. She already has it. She has guys probably paying for stuff for her, right? 'Cause this, this epidemic, guys are fighting to give women money. So I had to understand that. And that takes a long time to work through your ego as a man. You realize like, hey, you could be perfect on paper. And I've strived to be almost that on paper, right? And there's women that are just like, no, like I'll have sex with you, but don't even hold my hand in public, right? And um it's a tough thing. I don't blame men for like being angry about this because we were told to do the right thing, right? And not only that, to get sexy and attractive at the top of that, and it just seems to not be moving the needle for women wanting relationships, right? So how about this? How about say, hey, let's forgive ourselves. We did what we could, and once in a while, a girl will say, hey, I want to be in a relationship with you. Take it or leave it, and move on, right? You're not that special, right? And that's freeing, that's liberating. When you accept and assume that women have their own um when women have their own agency and they make decisions based on incentives, emotions, we all say women are emotional until they are and then we get mad, right? Um and they make mistakes and the mistakes have nothing to do with you or anything like that. uh, then you can be free and you can be at peace. And then over time, you realize, like, hey, if she wanted to, she would. If women wanted to be in relationships, they would. And then you start treating like them like humans that make decisions and suffer consequences instead of these silly people that no matter how what they do, they're always going to want to be with you, Mr. Awesome. I'm like, no, that isn't. So we'll get this super chat and Fago, I'll get to your question. You get one of these, sir?
Thank you so much, best friend!
Dark Knight Dev with the $10. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You can tell Bloom fell into Secret King because he thinks men control access to relationships, but the truth is men can only control their level of investment when they're craving for commitment. Yeah, there you go. Men can only control their level of investment, right? You are in charge of opting in, right? Um, that's it. Like women are going to be the ones to bring up the relationship, right? If you bring up the relationship, it's probably lack of game, or you are lonely, my friend. And that's very unattractive to women. Women want to be the ones to chase a little bit. They want to be the ones to ask you, like, "Hey, what are we?" Or like they want to be in the dark a little bit, right? For a while, and then after a while, they're going to start like, "Hey, are we?" They're going to be really serious about relationship, and then ask you, then you can say yes or no. But yeah, it's secret kingism. Men in their normal, regular ass lives want to believe that they're so awesome that every woman they touch who touches their dick is automatically under their spell and wants to be in a relationship with them. If that were true, I would have been married at 24, right? you know, Women don't want to be in relationships. That's their problem. Let them deal with their own problems. Women are grown-ups, and if they don't want to be with me, then I can't force women to be with me. Right. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dark Knight Dev, for the money. I appreciate it, man. Dirty Fago, I got a question. I opted out of a toxic situationship after she didn't want anything. Currently learned she's talking to a mutual. She bugs me still though, even though rejecting what gives. Got a question. I opted out of a toxic situationship after she didn't want anything. Okay. Currently learned she's talking to a mutual, like a mutual friend. She bugs me still though, even though rejecting me. Even though what gives, Nick? Well, um she's just running circles around you emotionally, dude. Like she knows that you're not going anywhere. She knows that you are needy for a relationship, and she's milking the attention she gets from you for that, you know? Um, so just talk to other women. Really, that's, forget about it, right? If women want to, you gave off "I want relationship" vibes, right? Because you opted out of a toxic situationship because she didn't want anything serious, right? Um, realize you did the job, you did her job. Her job was to worry about relationship, and you did that for her. You're not supposed to worry about relationships. That's women's job. So you messed up there. If you would have just focused on, hey, I'm getting laid and that's all I care about, and she's not a headache, then you would have been fine. You would have been still getting laid, but you caught feelings or something, and now you're in this weird situation where your dignity is at stake, and she's still bugging you, right? And it's awkward, right? Because she's talking to someone or maybe having sex with someone that you know, right? So that even gets more awkward. I would say move on from the situation and kind of ghost her and talk to other women, right? It's that literally that simple. All right. It sucks because ego and confidence are pretty entwined and separating them is difficult. Yeah, and that's where the work comes for the like people think the red pill is just like a lot of the red pill is getting over yourself and all the shit you were talking about, right? You were told, right? Because growing up, the red the blue pill conditioning kind of plays to your ego and you thinking that you're sacrificing your paycheck or whatever version of your sacrifice you think is enough to make women happy. And women are like once you get a job, a good job and all these nice things, and then that's enough for women to be like, oh, I love you now because you're so much better. So yeah. Hey Alex, FN YouTube just barely gave me a note. It's probably because I didn't use an intro this time, so it kind of delays. That's why a lot of people use intros because it gives people a notification earlier. So yeah, guys. So yeah, you're welcome, man. Uh, you guys gotta get over your ego, man. Like this stuff can really mess with you. It could really send you down a dark path of pain. It did for me, I was one of those guys for a while that thought, "Hey, why am I not getting the best of the best? Because I did everything like on paper, I look amazing." And the thing is, humans are not like that, right? Humans have incentives. Women aren't like us. We're projecting our neediness. Men are projecting their neediness onto women. Like, hey, men are lonely and they want a relationship. So women must be lonely and want a relationship. One of the things that people who don't fuck or who don't understand the opposite gender or too big of ego to understand the opposite gender is that they think that they want the same things or have the same incentives as us. Right? You see this with women. Women will be like, "Hey, why don't men do this?" Right? And it's just like, "Well, because we're men." And that's it. That's the answer. It's not some kind of like something's wrong with us. It's because men and women are different. And I know guys like it's so tiring to hear men and women are different over and over again over the years, right? But I'm telling you right now, it needs to be said over and over because literally every day on this Twitter app, on this X app, YouTube, whatever app, there is an example of someone going viral because they don't understand that men and women are different. Literally every day. Everything, where it comes from gaming, media, relationships, jobs, everything. People just can't get it through their thick skull that men and women are different. We have different life paths, we have different incentives, we have different fears in terms of our biology. We're wired differently, we want different things, and like Christian guys will be like, why don't like how could a woman um do like how could Lily Phillips do the Lily Phillips thing and 100 men in 24 hours? I don't get it. I'm like, well, because she wants to. No one told her not to do it, right? No one told her to do it. She just wanted to do it. And conservatives struggle with this. Like they really got programmed that every woman is happiest when having children. And yet I've seen women that have children that are absolutely miserable, that beat their children all the time, that pass them off to their grandmother or daycare, right? And we're supposed to pretend like the surefire way of happiness is women having children. While yes, I do agree that children do bring lots of joy into parents' lives, right? But it's not we need to start looking at it like this, like, hey, women do things because they want to, not because they're tricked, because guess what happens if we don't accept female agency? They're going to use the most powerful tool in their arsenal, which is feminism, right? And whenever they mess up in life, they're gonna say, I'm just a girl. Oops, tee hee, I'm just a girl. And then guys would be like, ah, she's just a girl. And then all of us will have to pay the consequences because some group of conservatives who are in power, right, are going to make it your problem, right? So because I enjoy women from time to time, right? I mean, I'm in a relationship now, but uh, because I enjoy women from time to time, it's my fault that some woman 1,000 miles away ended her baby's life. You see what I'm saying? It's like why can't we just blame her? She did it. She decided to walk to the clinic and do it, right? Because I date around and I enjoy the women. Some other guy who isn't trying, who isn't jacked, who didn't do the work that I did, is never gonna have a family. I'm like, "Go F yourself." And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same, where if you guys finally put in the work in life, and you got 1 or 2 ladies interested in you, and some guy is just like, "You're a degenerate because you enjoy women or you are leveraging your gifts to get women." And you're just like, "Dude, get good, bro." Like, I don't like this country wasn't founded on tribalism as much it was competition. Right? When a lot of this race stuff that's coming out, that everyone's obsessed about now in the beginning of this year, it's not about tribalism or wanting better for your fellow man. It's about guys constantly complaining about things not being good enough and convenient enough for them. That's what it is, right? Like sexually race stuff. It's like, hey, I'm entitled to this type of woman because I am the same as her, right? But that's not how like obviously women tend to lean towards their own race. I understand that data shows it, but also it's just like, dude, you don't get to just get born a white guy and all of a sudden every white woman is supposed to have sex with you only, right? That's not how it works. This is the laws of the jungle. Get used to it. There is no, hey, you cannot negotiate desire, right? If a black guy or Dominican guy or whatever comes along and has more game than you, is better logistics, or just was the right guy at the right time, then he wins, right? Get good. Stop the complaining, right? And for same for me, if I am talking to a Dominican woman or I have a thing for Southeast Asian women, and a white guy comes along and he takes my girl from me, I'm like, laws of the jungle, right? You can't really like stop with the sour grape shit. So, yeah. All right, we got Chad Elkins. Sir, you get one of these.
Thank you so much, best friend!
Chad Elkins, CPA, $5. Love having something really interesting to listen to while I do tax work this morning. Thanks. Like, hey, man, it's all good. Just was doing some work from home and I had a break, but yeah, man. And everyone wish Chad Elkins a good tax season. It's gonna be a rough one this year, but I think he'll pull through. Thanks, Chad. Um, Dark Knight Dev with the $5. Let's get you something different. Let's see. Let's get you one. All right, Dark Knight Dev, $5. It's like you said, she didn't need you to run game, have six pack abs or six figs. You're just the right guy at the right time, like that wet noodle dude. Yeah. Right guy, right time, guys. You don't need to overthink this, right? There is a threshold you have to pass. You can't be a complete slob. You can't smell bad. You can't be absolutely obese or fat, right? Um, but you're preparing so that one day when that girl leaves her boyfriend that day, or that girl is missing her ex and you look just like her, or that girl just came from a Aventura concert and you look just like Romeo, right? And she's primed and feeling sexual and all that stuff, and she goes out. You can then be that right guy at the right time, dude. Right? You use minimal game enough to show that you're calibrated, not weird, and then you show intent, like, hey, let's go back to my place, or let's get out of here and go to another bar or whatever. Um, then you can you know then you can be the right guy at the right time, right? But you need to read a somewhat of a threshold, right? So yes, correct. Alex Patino with the $5, sir. You get one of these. Alex Patino with the $5. My life improved once I realized that making women happy was not my burden to bear, and that includes my wife. I learned that in my first year of marriage. Yeah, exactly, Alex. Like your job isn't on this earth isn't to make women happy or to be the perfect husband or to like sacrifice your life. So every woman you have sex with wants to be in a relationship with. It's for you to be happy and content and fulfilled as a man. And anyone that wants to come along on your journey will come along, and those that don't, don't. And it doesn't mean women will come along forever. They get bored, they have other things they want to do, and that's the best you got, right? You can't control everything. So, yeah. One second. Okay, we got Simply Too Awesome. You get one of these. Let's give you.
Thank you so much, best friend!
We got Simply Too Awesome with the £5. Given it's just a turn, what is the place of belonging? Her belonging, oneself belonging to. Where is home? Your purpose or mission only? Um, Very poetic question. Uh, could you put it more in I like that this is a very poetic question, right? I think I know what you're alluding to, but I'm going to explain it the best I can. If you could just retype the question into more simpler terms, and so I don't risk answering it incorrectly. So it's just she's not yours, it's just your turn. Essentially, is hey, women are not property. First off, meaning that women can leave, and there's nothing you can do, right? Unless she commits a crimes and leave, or abducts. Even if she abducts your child, you can't call the police and be like, hey, bring my wife back to me, and they're not gonna go out and go find your wife. Obviously they'll do a search party, right? But in the sense that, hey, we just want this woman to be alive, but you can't. They're not gonna bring her back to you because she's not property. You can't call the police on a woman that goes missing unless it's like, hey, we need to find her, make sure she's safe, right? In case she goes missing, like absolutely no contact. So there's that. Um, Women have agency, right? Like just because she's here today doesn't mean she's here tomorrow, right? We know this. We see the divorce statistics. We see that how long relationships last. We see in our own lives that women leave for dumb, silly things sometimes, and it's really something else. But um, we see the fickleness of love and relationships these days, right? And you really can't, we can keep blaming ourselves as men that we're not good enough, right? So you need to understand, like, hey, the healthiest way to look at this is she's not mine, it's just my turn, meaning that she's here today. She's sitting in the bed next to me. She's sucking my dick today. She's cooking me food today. She's taking the kids to school today. But tomorrow it may not be that. It may be something different. So the beauty of this and why this is such a romantic thing, if you really think about it, is she could leave at any time, but she chooses you today. She's choosing you day by day. She is choosing to be with you. There is no obligation, right? I mean, maybe a little bit, right? But there is no obligation. There is no, hey, you have to be here because God or your mom or societal expectation. You're here because you want to be. And I'm going to enjoy this moment with you because tomorrow you may not want to be with me. So silently, right? You don't have to explain this to your wife, right? Don't explain it to your wife, girlfriend, or whatever. But she could leave tomorrow forever, and you have to be okay with that because there's nothing you can do, and that will make you appreciate the times you're with her more, right? Because at any day now she can leave, and that's the beauty of that. So home is where you make home. Woman, just make it a nicer. She's a good woman, and you got your shit together as a guy. Yeah, there's a need to belong. Belong to who? Like you want to belong to a woman, like you want to be in love and feel like she's holding you down or something. You're right. There is no camaraderie. It's always competition. Always saying this to young guy who got into it, said that he needs to save the West. Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of guys, when guys feel disenfranchised, right? I don't like using the word loser, right? Because women are like, you're a loser. That's, I say disenfranchised. Like you thought you were entitled to things or supposed to be given things like cheap housing and all this stuff, right? Which is, pretty much one of the biggest political issues right now. Um, so always saying, okay, they believe, and you see this in primates too. Whenever a disenfranchised group of young males gets like just that disenfranchised or are starting to feel like losers, not access to women and all that stuff, they form a coalition. They try to get they become more tribal because they're preparing to overthrow or undermine the alphas at the top, right? And that's all perception. Like there is no like alpha at the like because politicians and like you guys haven't paid attention. Politicians, athletes, and all these people, everyone thinks that they're the super alpha gods, are getting played by women just as much as everyone else, right? Um, but uh, one of the healthiest things you can do as a guy, you could tell a guy is like, hey, you're in this alone in terms of your reproductive problem, right? That you're not here to form alliances in order to get women to act right, right? Women do not act right because a group of men tell them to do so. Because for every one guy that tries to hold women accountable, there's going to be like 100 guys that tell them, "Hey, no, she can do whatever she will." They will fight to the death to allow women to do whatever they want. Right? So it's a waste of your time, and in your own life, and in women's life that you don't know, it's stupid, it's silly, it doesn't make sense. So telling guys, "Hey, you're when it comes to your reproductive problem, you're alone. I can't sit on a date with you. No one can tell you what to say to a girl in real time. Well, but there is a group of guys online in good faith, right? Not all of us, not most of us, but there are a couple that say, "Hey, dude, I don't give a shit about you. I'm in competition. If you were in my city in Dallas, you're competing with me. We're in competition. However, I want to make sure you get the right information. That way you can use it the way you see fit to improve your life the way you want." Right? I see how I'm not telling you what to do or be like me. I don't give like don't be like me. Like only I can be, right? But here's what worked for me. Try it out. If it doesn't, I don't even care if it works for you or not because I'm not here to be right. I'm here to like trade notes, right? So what ends up happening is these guys want to get together, they form these groups online, in the abstract, and then they get mad at guys like me and they think, "Oh, if I dunk on Nuke enough, he'll stop licking the ice cream." I'm like, dude, I was what you guys were a long time ago. And now that they're seeing these rug pulls from like ex-OF stars becoming Christian and then lying, and then Elon Musk, Elon Musk just rug pulled the gaming community. He was like a champion of the gaming community, and then now he's exposing Asmongold, which is he's a beloved figure in the gaming community, right? And he's showing his true colors, right? I like Elon's a cool guy. He's done a lot of good stuff, right? But he's rug pulling the anime or sorry the what do you call it? The gaming community, right? And guys are gonna keep following, and then young guys are gonna be like, "Man, there really is no one on my side." And I'm like, "Yeah, only you are on your side." That's not to say that everyone's against you. It's like Ryan says, "You're not. No one's against you. You're just in the way. That's it. You're not that special." So, guys, be selfish. Focus on what you want because no one really, like, no politician is like really worried about you, especially as a man, especially as a young man. Especially if you're a young white guy, you're bottom on the on the totem pole of people who we care about, right? So just be selfish and do the best you can and use this stuff for good. Don't just watch these streams every day, all day for years and feel like you're part of the cool kids club, right? Because at the end of the day, you're on your own, right? And we're obviously we can become friends on here and all that, but I don't want the purpose of this isn't to form a parasocial relationship with me or with any other content creator. Purpose is, hey, this I kind of resonate with this new guy or whoever you choose to follow, and then once you get the information you need, use it. And if you want to support the channel, obviously things cost money, and this is my time, so of course, right? But at the same time, use this stuff. you're a busy guy, or you will be busy, or you have better things to do than hear me yap for like hours, right? Use this stuff, push forward, and if you want to talk to me, you know, then come here again, right? But you know, y- be be smart with your time, right? Okay, so we got $5. Oh, yeah, you get one of these.
Thank you so much, best friend!
Alex Patini with the $5 from Church Leaking Money. He said, "Enjoy friends like flowers because they can be temporary." I expand to say that includes women more so because of their fakeness. Yeah, um, things are more beautiful because they don't last, right? So I want you guys when you have a hot young chick in your house, realize that that woman is being incentivized and pulled every direction to clubs, the next concert. Guys are obsessed with her, all that stuff, and she's in your apartment. Enjoy it. Enjoy that moment because women are fickle as hell, and women will leave because the wind blew a different direction, right? And most guys know this. So instead of being mad that women don't stay, enjoy the small moments you get with them because they don't really stay. Yeah, go touch grass to get busy with life. You won't have time to think that you have a sense of belonging, right? Yeah, work on your relationships in real life, right? Are are you cool with your parents? Have you called your parents recently? No? Are you have a little beef with your parents? That's not really is it that important that you have a group of online guys like you instead of, hey, let me call my mom and fix things with my parents, let me forgive my parents. Do you have a friend that you miss? You know? Well, how about take a flight to go see your friend and spend a weekend with them? Hey, is there a date you want to go on instead of watching me talk on a Sunday night, right? You got one life, dude. Like, I love the internet. This is great. It makes me money and I meet some really good people, right? But it's really taxing on your mental health, right? And you need to focus on your relationships, right? Because when you're in the hospital bed, none of you guys will be at my well, maybe Mish will probably come, but a lot of you guys will not be at my side. It will be the people that I've argued with that have broken my heart, you know? It'll be the people I've fought with in real life, but a lot of those people actually care and they will be by my side, right? And that's the thing, guys. Like it's okay to have online stuff, but there needs to be a separation. You need to understand that if something happened to you, who would be there? And if you don't know, then you have to go figure that out quickly because the internet is not real. These people discuss everything in the abstract, from race, sex, everything is just, you know, abstractions, right? So, yeah. Simply too awesome with the 5 pounds. What makes you feel like you belong? Is it all a game? Is it trusting your buddies? Is it merely one goal after another without family? Okay, you're saying like how without family? Look at it like this, right? Um, there are men that are married that are lonelier than they were when they were single, right? And why is that? Um, Marriage and family do not make you feel will not necessarily solve loneliness, right? They will fill your biological need to pass on your your genetic, right? And yes, you need love and appreciation as a man, right? There are men that are married that their wife has never said thank you or appreciates them. They just browbeats them and shits on them all day, right? Um, you need to look at it like this. If you think that thinking that family and children are a goal, that is one of the most abusive things you can do to your future family and wife. Because why would you put that on them? Right? Imagine you meet your wife, and she sees that you are striving, she's happy, she's like, God, this guy's awesome. He has his own thing, and I don't have to worry about, I just have to have sex and worry about the kids and, make them a meal from time to time. Imagine you shifting your focus to her. Do you know how abusive that is to women? When you shift the focus from your dreams to her, she will end up hating you, right? So there is no belonging or disbelonging in family. It is just an eventuality. If you're a competent man, some woman somewhere will be like, "Hey, I want to start a family with you." There obviously it's a long process, right? But and then you're like, "Sure, cool," and then you continue your life. And then obviously life changes. You have kids, but you still got to strive, right? Your family is not a goal. It is just an eventuality. competent men get families, not the other way around, right? So, and it's not, it doesn't matter how you see it, whether it's a game or not. It's just an eventuality. Like if you are awesome, if you have friends, if you have a good life, some woman will be like, I kind of want to have his children, and then that's it. It's that simple, you know. Thank you for the. Oh, thank you, sir. We got five. Uh, I want to screenshot this. Mm-mm-mm. You want to wrong one.
Thank you so much, best friend!
Hell yeah, Julian. Take the Android 17 pill in the super. In super, he left all the fighting just to live on an island with animal. Oh, that's what you mean by the Android 17 pill. I thought you meant like the future androids where you just kill everyone and everything and lay waste to planet Earth. I'm like, whoa, buddy. But you mean like the Android 17 that just went to an island and just chill with animals. Basically what I did, except I have one puppy, you know? Like I get it now. It makes sense. It makes sense. Hey, little something since I got promoted a few days ago. Hey man, thank you and congratulations. Everyone congratulate Chad of Arabia on his promotion. He gets promoted like every 3 days. So I don't know how special it is to him, but everyone congratulate Mish on his promotion. Also, guys, check it out. I started hanging up my Buster sword behind me. So yeah, there it is. What do you guys think? It's a nice sword. Yeah, guys. See, if you become your own mental point of origin, you get to live in a nice apartment on the fifth story with a perfect view of a city skyline, and you have look at all my nerdy stuff. Right? They will swear to you that being nerdy and having hobbies makes you ugly, unattractive, and undesirable to women. But look, I literally have a sword from my favorite video game. Not real size because it's like needs to be like twice as big and it'd be like actual size. I have my little display. I have my anime stuff, my books, um, all these things. You know, my girlfriend got me a Lego train. I built it. Guys, I'm still getting laid. I'm still getting, still employed, still jacked. I'm gonna go to the gym. I got a conference call here in a couple minutes. You know, yeah, it is what it is. All right, guys. I gotta go. I got a work call. Let me double check. I got all the super chats in here. Thank you guys thank you, Mish, for the memberships, and thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to clear up this woman control access sex relationship. Um this isn't a hey, women are better or you suck as a man. This is a hey, this is reality. This is how you deal with it, right? So, um, yeah, man, do what it can. Uh, so take it or leave it, and you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. Goodbye.